How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and I'm back today with another video about Stronghold Kingdoms. Today I'm going to be showing you how to instantly create an army in your village. Now, as you're probably aware, if you're a more advanced player, it is perfectly possible to pump army after army out of your village if you're willing to invest in a few cards. So for new players, this is a tutorial that's mostly oriented towards you. So let's talk about the most restricting factor when it comes to recruiting out of villages. Obviously, parishes, this would not apply to because it does not require peasants in order to create troops from a parish. But in a village, you're going to need peasants. As you can see, if I hover over the archer recruitment number here, it says no peasants available. It's because I don't have any idle peasants in this village available to recruit. So this is going to effectively limit how many armies you can push out of your village, because regardless of how many weapons you have, you need to have peasants to use those weapons. Now, of course, one of the ways you can get more peasants is simply by closing down these weapons workshops, or just closing down workshops in general. So in other words, I could turn off all of my woodcutters' huts, I could turn off all of my stone quarries, and I'd get some more peasants. But eventually those peasants will run out as well. If you're going to be sending multiple armies of 500 troops, for example, one village can only supply about 200, a little over 200, even with maximum hovel placement, or hovel placement for maximum adjacency bonuses. So you're going to need to find another way to get more troops in your village, and you can do that through cards. So there are a couple of cards we need to talk about. The first ones are when you go over here to the troop cards. There are various troop cards that give you troops. So in other words, if I play the catapult mercenaries card, I'm going to get one catapult in that village. If I play the mercenaries card, I'm going to get 15 peasants in that village. And remember, this is only per village. This is not game wide. In other words, this is not a card that applies to all of your villages, just the one you currently have selected. And if you don't currently have space, I'm pretty sure the card just goes to waste. It may have changed since I last used it, but back when I used to use it, if you didn't have space in your barracks for these additional troops, they would simply go to waste. So just keep that in mind when you're recruiting. Now, this is all well and good, of course, but that's expensive. To buy cards like that immediately give you troops is not always very affordable, and it doesn't make much sense, right? If you're going to actually if you have the weapons required to recruit those troops, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go ahead and buy them again. For example, right here, 5 archers is going to cost 40 card points, which is fairly significant. So another way of going about doing this is going into the villagers tab, I guess, and now we're going to have to find, I forget where they are. Here we go. Under popularity and population, we can get peasants to come to our villages. So in other words, the gold peasants card gives us 50 villagers. And if we wanted to buy that card, let's take a look at how much it would cost. So it would cost 66 card points as opposed to going over here and taking a look at the troop cards. So for 50 equivalent of archers, it would cost around 60 points. Wait, that's not right. Those are mercenaries. 60 points for mercenaries, or 60 card points for 40 mercenaries, 80 card points for 20 archer mercenaries. So as you can see, you're paying quite a hefty price if you already have the weapons and you need additional recruits to use those weapons. There's no point in using these cards. You might as well go ahead and simply use the card that gives you peasants in your village. So that is the way I would go about doing it. So for example, here in my village, how many peasants do I have? 0? Excellent. Let's take the card that I was just talking about, the 10 villagers. We're going to play that. And now in this village, there you go. I've got 10 peasants that I can recruit into archers. If I wanted an additional, let's say I wanted 10 peasants, I'm going to show you playing that card as well. There's no point in me saving up these cards, I don't think, at this point. Mercenaries, I have 48 of these cards? Really? Wow. That's going to give me 15 peasants. You can play it like that. Pretty much the same thing. And now I have 15 peasants in these barracks as well. So what situation would this especially be useful in? Well, in my case, especially during the earlier parts of the game, that's when the troop cards are the most important. The ones that actually give you troops that come with weapons. Those are most valuable in the beginning of the game when weapon production is still a little bit low and you need to quickly pump out armies so that way you can farm nearby AI such as wolf lairs, bandit camps, and even some AI castles. But once you get past that point and you have decent weapon production in your villages, it becomes much more beneficial to just go ahead and, if you need immediate armies, to go ahead and use the villagers cards to increase the population available in that village. Now, obviously, this is still going to cost you a fair amount of card points to use those cards, but sometimes when you're in a critical situation, like if you're being attacked and you need troops to defend, I don't know, that really is not a valid situation because you could send reinforcements easily from your parish. But there are a few situations that don't come to mind, I'm sure somebody could find them, where it would be beneficial or pretty urgent to create instant armies in your villages, and that is how you can get around the very real peasant cap, let's call it, where you're only limited in terms of your army by how many peasants come to your village per hour. Obviously, the best way to do this is just to make sure your peasants are as happy as possible, but there is a cap on this as well. You're not going to ever get popularity to the point where you're just going to be getting instant peasants. Well, I think that's pretty much it. That's how you would go about creating instant armies in Stronghold Kingdoms, or at least how I would do it. If you have an alternative method, if there's something that I perhaps overlooked here, I doubt it, but it's always possible, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.